The views and content expressed on the following program are provided solely for informational and entertainment purposes. They do not constitute legal advice. A podcast is not a substitute for retaining a competent, licensed attorney to advise you on your specific legal situation.
Break the business, play is work and work is play. Power into creators, have fun along the way. Break the business, doing what it takes. Celebrate success and learn from the mistakes.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the show. It is time for Break the Business, where we empower indie creators and have some fun along the way. I'm Ryan Kairalla, and it is a pleasure to have you here this week. Man, what a show do we have in store for you folks. I want to get right to it. Let's get the co-host in here because I got things to talk about. There are things that need to be discussed. Zach Sloan joining us. How's it going, Zach?
Dude, I am hyped up for this tonight. That's what the young kids say, right? Hyped?
I'm the authority that you want to... I got my finger on the pulse of the Gen Zers. You definitely want to know what I think the young people would say. How are you, man? Good to see you.
Dude, I'm great, man. It's fantastic to get to see you again and be on the interwebs and the Siriuses and the XMs just chatting about music business and having a good time, man.
You're just trying to alienate the young people at this point. Just going out of your way to do it. Zach, you are the man I want to talk to. You are the right co-host for the right time because you are the person I want to talk to this week because of the stuff we have in store, okay? You are a music producer, and our guest this week, a gentleman named JT Daly, also a music producer, and working on a pretty cool, magnificent project that we're going to talk to him about with the Dan Le Batard Show. And we're going to have him on in the second segment to talk about it. But I want to bring this up to you, okay? Here's a hypothetical I want to send your way as a music producer, okay? Let's say your phone rings, and on the other side of that phone is somebody who wants to work with you on a production project. Yep. Oh, very good. Yeah, you're acting it out. We like that, for the radio audience. He's got the phone to his head.
I have headphones on, so it doesn't work very well.
That's right. On the other side of the phone, the person who wants to work with you, all right, is the number one sports radio podcast in America. And you're probably thinking, oh, they want me to make their theme song or something, the way like Jonathan Mann made the theme song for this podcast. And that's not what they want to do. What they have in mind is something a little more ambitious. They would like you to help them make an entire musical about the Super Bowl. And they want all of the vocals, all the singers to be the co-hosts and producers of their program. So no professional singers, no professional musicians involved, just you needing to make this musical. Oh, and by the way, none of the songs have been written yet, and you have 30 days. Are you taking that job?
Man. Yes. I would, because I do insane things. That's insane.
Well, and JT Daly also said yes, and so we are going to have him on in the second segment to tell us, for one thing, why he said yes, because that sounds, as you aptly put it, insane. And two, to find out how this came together and how he was able to make something that, again, he worked with no professional singers. These were just radio hosts and did not have much in the way of vocal talent. And the final product, which you can listen to now, it's available starting on the March 10th. It's going to be on all the streaming services, and now it's available on the Dan Le Batard Show podcast feed. What the final product, Zach, is epic. It's
pretty dope.
Really good. Yeah, I mean, you listen to it, right? You are pleased as a producer?
Oh, I am amazed as a producer. And we can get the nuts and bolts in this, after the interview, but modern technology is amazing, and what you can do. I'm serious. Sometimes people are like, oh, I got to spend, X hundreds of thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars to make a record. And I'm like, well, this dude just did it with a laptop, apparently, because he pulled it off without any pro singers. Actually, I shouldn't say that. You've talked to him. What was the recording process like? Or is that in the interview? This is me just being very curious.
It's going to be in the interview, but I've listened to him do other interviews because obviously when he put out this project and then the Dan Le Batard Show fans loved it, they had him on and interviewed him about making this project. And one of the things he said was just that the whole recording process was not ideal, right? They had him at the recording space where they do the podcast every week here in Miami. And he was just like there with his laptop. Apparently the place was freezing. They were stacking boxes up to try to muffle the sound so that the vocals wouldn't leak. It was super just jury-rigged kind of setup, and they still made something special. And I'll say this, like, this project is special to me because I'm a Miamian, and I've been listening to the Dan Le Batard show my whole life. It's been on for dang near 20 years, and I've grown up with it. It's amazing. I think it's the best podcast out there. It's so well done. It's so funny. It's so insightful, and they've been doing it well for so long. And really what I think this story, and so like I'm happy that like something that came out of Miami and could be so special could do a project like this. Because what I think is special about this project as it pertains to Break the Business is it's a celebration of independent creators. The Dan Le Batard Show is an independently produced podcast. They left ESPN a couple years ago. They started their own company, Meadowlark Media, which is completely independent. It's not owned by any bigger content company. And because of their independence, they can do whatever they want. They can take big creative swings. And that includes if they want to make a musical about the Super Bowl in 30 days, they don't have to get anybody else's approval to do it. And as a result of that, they get to do this really cool, beautiful, special product that is, it's honestly a work of art. And I can't wait to talk to JT about it and to get your thoughts on just what everything that JT is saying, because you're going to have a perspective on this as a producer that I'm not. And so I'm excited to get your insight on what he has to say, Zach.
Top to bottom, this sounds completely bonkers.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, I mean, my buddy Cheryl B. Englehart recently made a record on a train. True story.
Almost sounds like the setup to a joke.
Yeah, I've made
record on a train. Yeah,
I've made a lot of music in this room right behind me. Another great reference to the audio medium that we're on. You can do amazing things if you have the work ethic, the talent that you're working with, and just the ingenuity and the creativity, because you can make great things happen in less than ideal spaces. And for all the people who are like, oh, it's got to be perfect, the Muscle Shoals Studios, where they recorded the Rolling Stones' Brown Sugar, the lights would go out when the trains would pass by because the electricity was bad, right? Like, they had buckets in there to catch the leaks. Yeah, like, a lot of great art comes from those circumstances if you have the right mind behind it. And between the Dan Le Batard Show and the production of this, the producer, they had the right minds. It's fantastic.
So we're going to talk to JT Daly in the second segment, but before we bring that into your lives, I want to talk to you about another pretty interesting music project that actually could have bearing on all of the people listening to this program, because I think it's an exciting opportunity for them that we sort of have the inside track on this program, and we are bringing it out to all of you. And I think you as a producer and an artist, Zach, might be interested in this project as well.
Is it about the Super Bowl?
It is. It is a Super Bowl of sorts. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
In that it's pretty darn epic. I'm sure you are aware of the movie star John Travolta, right?
I've heard of him. He was in that Pulp Fiction. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that little indie thing that that kind of flew under the radar. Yeah. Mm-hmm. As lawyers, you and me, Zach, I think you probably have a special place in your heart for the movie A Civil Action, right? That's like required viewing for all lawyers. And that's a John Travolta vehicle.
Yeah, no, that's a great movie too, actually.
Well, but anyway, this story is not about John Travolta, but rather about his equally talented, if not even more talented, he might even admit, daughter, Ella Travolta. Ella, the daughter of John Travolta and Kelly Preston. So obviously a lot of really good genetics going into there if you're trying to make a talented daughter. And they were able to create one, right? Ella Travolta she's an actress, and she's a really terrific singer and songwriter who is getting her start in the music business right now. She just released her first single, Dizzy, earlier this year, and she's got a bunch more songs on the way. She's doing some stuff on TikTok right now. She's working with TikTok to put some material out. Just really cool indie artist story. Ella Travolta, wants to do it as an indie artist, trying to just kind of go down that path. Maybe she's listened to Break the Business and some of the lessons have seeped through. I don't know, but she's going down that route. And right when I was about to go to air, Zach, she did something that might be a pretty interesting opportunity for all of the Break the Business listeners, particularly if you are a musician or a producer or a rapper or any kind of musical artist. So just today, like right before we went on the air here as we recorded this on Wednesday, Ella created what's called an open verse challenge on TikTok. Are you familiar with open verse challenges, Zach?
I am now, because when we talked about this off air, I was like, this is this is so cool. This is collaboration in the modern age, and I love it.
It's one of my favorite things about the TikTok platform is like the way it inspires duets and people can make videos on top of other people's videos and create really great art from it. But one of these types of kind of collaborative videos that you see on TikTok are what are called open verse challenges, where an artist who has one of their own songs will play maybe like the 16 bars before the verse of their song to kind of get things started. And then instead of singing the next verse, they just play the instrumentals on their verse all the way through and invite anybody on TikTok to supply their own verse to the song. And you can sing the verse, you can rap the verse. I've seen any variety of this. And obviously the best collaborations, the best responses to the open verse challenge, they'll go viral on TikTok. They get shared all over the place. There have even been a few stories of people getting record deals and production deals and marketing deals and endorsements because they did a really great open verse challenge on somebody's TikTok and it caught fire. This absolutely happens. And so it's an exciting opportunity for the creators.
That's super cool.
It is.
And for all the creators out there, like, these are fun things to do if you find yourself in like a songwriting rut or a production rut or whatever, or you're just like, I'm writing the same song over and over again. This is like collaboration on a way that, or in a medium that really is a really modern kind of innovation of songwriting. I think it's really cool.
It's really, really cool. And what a great way to get to, to work with your favorite artists in a way that you never would. So here's what I'm going to submit to all of you, viewers and listeners, anyone within the sound of mine and Zach's voice here. We're going to play Ella's open verse challenge for you right now on the show so you can get to hear what it sounds like. It's an open verse of her first single, Dizzy, which is a really, really sweet ballad that she's put out. And I'll say this, all right? Here at Break the Business, we have an inside track to Ella. We are in communication with her. We've been chatting with her. And so what I will say to you is if you participate in the open verse challenge, if you do a video, if you put something together and you send it to us, either at the BTB podcast, me at Ryan Kair, or at breakthebusiness@gmail.com. And we'll go ahead and put those links there on the bottom of the screen. So you can if you send your video to either breakthebusiness@gmail.com or to me on Twitter at Ryan Kair or at the BTB podcast, I will guarantee you that we will put that video right in front of Ella's eyes. Scout's honor, she will see it, because I imagine a lot of people are going to do this challenge. I'm telling you, if you submit it through our podcast, we will give your video the inside track to Ella, because as you'll see in this video, the caption says her favorite video, the one that she picks, is going to win a special prize. We don't know what the special prize is, but I can assure you if it involves the Travoltas, it's going to be something very, very cool. And so, and if for no other reason that like getting to work with Ella Travolta on something where you're collaborating with her on this video could be a cool thing for you. So we're opening that up to anybody. Anybody who sends us their Ella video, we'll make sure it gets right to Ella. Zach, can we get you interested in this? I want to see you collaborate with her.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of a hallmark of my musical career the past 20 odd years I've been doing this, right, is when a door opens, walk through it. And this is a pretty easy door to walk through, right? Like, here's my deal. I had a TikTok. I forgot I had a TikTok until you told me about this. I got on it. I'm gonna have to figure out how to use TikTok and figure out how to do this stuff.
You probably have to remember your password first.
No, Google got me. We're good. But like my point being is like, this is doable, I think, even for people like me who TikTok's not their preferred medium. I'm a Twitter dude, even though I'm not on social media a whole lot anymore. But this is such a cool opportunity that, of course I got to do it.
Yes!
I haven't done a contest like this since I submitted a song for the Break the Business prize, which I got second place, by the way.
Woo!
But This is back before I was a co-host.
Yeah.
But yeah, these things are just fun, and if you look at it as an opportunity that worst case scenario for people like me or anybody, you're gonna hone your skills as a writer or a collaborator, and that's a good thing. So I'm going to do it.
All right. Let's see if we can get other people excited about this. We're going to play the Open Verse Challenge. Her video straight from TikTok so you all can see it and hear it, and maybe it'll get those creative juices flowing. Lauren, can you put up the video for us?
It's okay if your heart breaks for the right cause, and when you say goodbye to go live your life, that's alright.
And this is where you would fill in your verse.
Dizzy when you're
There you go. That's like, tell me that doesn't inspire creativity within you, Zach.
Dude, she's incredible.
Right?
Like that, man. Hey, that's a cool song that she's got going there. Yeah, that is a very inspiring, and that's like hits right at the heart. Like I've never been much for like love songs, but I have always been like a full of vinegar kind of guy, and that is like such a happy medium with those lyrics that she sets up, but the like the ballad kind of vibe. I'm gonna do something fun with that. That's cool.
Very cool.
Dude, she is wild. I have never heard her before until now. She's dope.
It's a great track, and believe me when I tell you there's plenty more where that came from. Like she's a really gifted songwriter and has just a wonderful voice. So, but for all you creators out there, I want you to get in on the ground floor of Ella Travolta. We're serious. If you send us the videos, we'll make sure it gets right to the front of her eyes, and she'll definitely check out your videos. Top priority. Okay. So again, you can send them to breakthebusiness@gmail.com or at Ryan Kair on Twitter. I want to see you guys get the chance to blow away Ella Travolta. All right. Let's take a quick break around here, and then we're going to bring on JT Daly. Don't go anywhere. We got so much fun to be had here on Break the Business. Ryan Kairalla here. I hope you're enjoying the show, and I hope that you're getting a lot out of it. I do what I do because I care about creators like you. A lot. I've dedicated my career to helping creative professionals, entrepreneurs, and organizations move forward. I do it by hosting this program, and I'm also proud to do it in my legal practice. If you're a creative professional looking for solutions-oriented legal services to help you further your goals, I'd love to help. My firm RKPA does contracts, commercial law, copyright, trademark, and more. Visit rkpalaw.com to learn more. That's rkpalaw.com. Ryan A. Kairalla, PA, Miami, Florida.
Streaming services for Break the Business provided by LEK Entertainment. LEK Entertainment is a full-service entertainment company offering everything from consultations to full-scale events and productions, including audio and video productions, voiceovers, staged theatrical productions, script and music development, and streaming services. For more information, visit lekentertainment.com. LEK Entertainment wants to help you bring your story to life.
Thanks for supporting Break the Business. If you have a question or topic that you want us to discuss, email us at breakthebusiness@gmail.com. You can follow the host, that's me, on Twitter at Ryan Kair, and you can follow the show at the BTB Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the show on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, and on all major podcast platforms. And now, let's get back to the show. Welcome back to Break the Business. You can find us on live streaming platforms, all major podcast platforms, and on SiriusXM 145. Wherever you're checking us out, We are thrilled to have you. Let's go ahead and bring out our guest this week. He is a Grammy-nominated musician, visual artist, songwriter, and producer who recently co-wrote the Benson Boone current hit single Ghost Town and has composed original scores for the ESPN 30 for 30 series. Recently, our guest collaborated with the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugatz Sports Podcast to create The Big Game, an audio musical production about the Super Bowl featuring the vocals of the hosts and producers of the Le Batard program. The Big Game will be released on all major streaming services on March 10th, and you can find out more about our guest's work by visiting www.jtdailymusic.com. We are thrilled to welcome JT Daly on To Break the Business. Hello, JT.
Hello. Thank you for having me, Ryan.
Thrilled to have you. We've interviewed close to 200 some odd guests on Break the Business, and every single one of them I have admired them for what they accomplished professionally. And I feel like I can talk to them just sort of intellectually, like one professional in the industry to another. But I feel like for the first time in a long time, like I'm talking to somebody where like I'm really close to the project they worked on as a fan. So you should know, JT, the Dan Le Batard Show is my favorite sports podcast. I'm from Miami, Florida. Dan Le Batard is, you know, one of the big people down here. It's like him and Pitbull right next to each other on the totem pole. And for the Le Batard fans, you can know I very much get the show, as we say. And I know you're a fan of it as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so as I was talking about in the first segment of the show, you recently got the opportunity to work with the Le Batard Show on creating an audio musical. The hosts of that show wanted to do an audio musical about the Super Bowl. None of them are professional singers or musicians or anything like that, but they called you to help them out, and you wound up creating this really amazing special project. I want to start at the beginning here. How did you get involved with this? Take us to that first phone call.
Man, well, there's one small step before the phone call even. When I found out that Meadowlark had started, I called up my manager and was just like,
So Meadowlark is the parent company for
Yes.
that the people from Le Batard started their own independent company to do these podcasts.
Correct. Yeah. And so they had split off from ESPN at the time, and I saw the people that they were surrounding themselves with. And I called my manager and I was just like, I don't know how, but I want to be around these people. Like, I don't know what it would take. I don't know if they ever would need me for anything, but I had actually been in a business meeting like a couple years before, and this person was like, art is crazy to make when it collides with commerce. And if there's any lesson I've learned, it's that I want to be, spend more time and work more around the people that I respect. And I remember that kind of just hit me, and I made a mental note, like, I need to attempt to do this more. And this was, an example of that. I just told Mac, my manager, I don't know how, but let's put my name out there. I just love all of these humans. And then I get a phone call from Mac. I was probably a year later, and he was just like, hey, they actually might be needing something. A musical on a Super Bowl is what I heard. And I don't know like how long it would take. And I'm thinking at this point, it's like December. Like, how are we going to write a musical on a Super Bowl?
That's going to be in like 2 months.
Exactly. And I have one friend in particular that had just actually finished a musical that's doing well. And I feel like he was working on it for years. So I don't know the time versus, what needs to be accomplished equals, are we proud of it? I'm not even sure this is a possibility, but I'll cross that bridge when we get there. And sure enough, Mike called me, and my exact quote to him was, I know that I should say no, but I'm going to say yes. And that was how I got into it. I will say one of my first conversations with him, though, was, maybe it's not just the Super Bowl, maybe it's the entire NFL season, so that it's not so much just around this one game, and we don't have to make so much content out of just this one experience. We can bring in so much more of a story arc, and also give everyone a reason to listen to it rather than, I'm a suffering Cleveland Browns fan. So, if
I'm sorry to hear that.
Exactly. And even me as a massive Levitard fan, if I knew that they were making a musical and it was just on the Super Bowl, I think I would be kind of like, well, I mean, it doesn't really even involve my team or any other storylines. It's just this one game. And Mike loved it. And we kind of just set up time. Well, we did. We just set up, he was like, come out here February 2nd. And I just want you to come into our studios and just sort of see how everything works, feed off that energy, and we'll just write a musical. And I just said yes. And it's still, I am still for real shocked that it worked. Yeah.
And you said yes, not really knowing what that was going to entail, not knowing what the end date was for this. You just wanted to work with, as you noted, this amazing group of humans so badly that you were saying yes before you actually read what the terms were. I dig that about you. That's very cool. As you noted, JT, a musical typically takes years to put together. Something like Hamilton, that was years in the process. How long did it take for you to make the big game with the Levitard crew?
I turned it in exactly 28 days because, the shortest month of the year. I told because I don't want to say I'm allowed a one passion project a year, but I am kind of, the way that I have worked as I guess a creative in the industry is I tend to just sort of, for better or for worse, pour my soul into whatever I'm working on at a time. And my team, the people that I've surrounded myself with, I've encouraged them like, hey, like step in if you feel like I'm doing too much here or, or working on the wrong project. Like I need someone to kind of, pull back on the reins a bit to be like, hey, you need to pay your bills next month. And I hate thinking about money. It's my least favorite part about this industry. I tend to make my best work when I'm not thinking about money at all. I'm just, who am I working with? What are we trying to say? Period. That's what I love to focus on.
It sounds like that's the biggest motivator for you when you are, when you're deciding yes or no on a project, even before maybe the content or anything else, it's who do I get to work with? Who are the humans involved?
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's why my management knew, like, you're going to say yes to this. We know for a fact you're going to do this. And that was my, air quotes, passion project this year. So they were fine with it, but I had 1 month. I finished my sessions at this studio in Nashville, Tennessee, and I packed up some instruments and some monitors and a travel rig, and I drove to Miami the next day. And I finished in Miami and drove to Nashville the next day. And that very next day, I had not only an interview with the Levitard show, but a session. That was my first day back. And I was so tired. They don't even know this. I was so tired from exhaustion. I was vomiting that day. I was like, I was, and I have a 9-month-old daughter who wasn't sleeping some in Miami. Like I truly was sleep deprived and just kind of can't believe that we pulled it off. But that's all the negative. There's so much positive. There's so much positive that we can get into.
Well, and you created something spectacular. Part of me wants to know about those 28 days and how it drove you not just to vomiting, but drove you to create something so special. Can you talk about the recording process? All right. From what I remember reading, you actually recorded this at the Levitard studio. They didn't have like a professional music studio, so you were just stacking boxes on top of boxes to mute the sound out and just sort of bringing people in and out. And you were writing the musical as you were recording it, right? So even the writing of it happened in those 28 days. Take us take us there. Take us to the Clevelander bar and that recording process.
Yeah. Well, so February started, so I had 2 days to kind of prep. And I did some drums in this room on that drum set to like All In, Take Me There. Back in my day, and then I created just a whole bunch of samples in this room because it's vaulted ceilings and whatnot. I tried to grab as many like real sounds as I could. And I packed up and I got to the Levitard studio at the Clevelander. And the first day I didn't have the cardboard walls up yet. And Amin and Juju and some other people were directly behind me. So, if I'm sitting here, the couch on the Levitard show is directly behind me in the other room where they're having the handheld mic. And I am trying to work in headphones. And for any like music nerds out there, I use open back headphones because they're the best to work on. But I can't do that in those studios because all the sound leaks out. So I can't work. So I had to use like old school like iPhone headphones
Oh, like
to
the
work on.
earbuds with the cable
Yes.
coming out? Wow.
So I'm
Okay.
using cabled Apple headphones, and then sometimes I'm putting my other headphones on top to try and block out the noise. And I'm just cranking it. It's freezing in there. They talk about how cold it is in there. It is offensively cold in there. I got sick the first weekend because of how cold it was in there. So I'm like bundled up. I have, a hoodie on, pulled up, iPod headphones or Apple, iPhone headphones, iPod headphones. But yeah, you get it. And I had my microphone, my guitars, a saxophone, a soprano saxophone there, and a keyboard. And basically I was just, yeah, like you were saying, like it started with Mike and I sort of writing a story arc on the wall in front of me. Like, here are all the pieces we have to connect these dots. And I want to say, man, I mean, we had Take Me There written. I wrote All In next. I had Back in My Day as a voice memo on my phone. I had like the melody. I knew how it was going to go. I had Discordant Harmony. I had pitched that. Stu Gatza's song. I had pitched that to Mike. And at the time, he was like, man, I don't know if just saying the Jets over and over is going to work. I feel like we can have more stuff. And I'm like, you're totally right. You're totally right. And then we did a Stu Gatz vocal session. And it was like a train crashing into a plane, into a car. It was so bad. And I think that's when we knew maybe the Jets is our best option. He just says one word over and over again.
I mean,
I think
you really did get the best performance, I think, out of that particular person.
That was
Because
amazing.
For those of you who don't listen to the Levitard show, Stu Gatz, who's the co-host with Dan, is, lovely and wonderful, and he's one of my favorite people on the show. Not even close to being a gifted singer, but a great character. We can agree, right, JT? And like you can make a living in Broadway that way. Like, you don't have to be like the pitch perfect vocalist if you're a great character. And so, yeah, in this song that he's talking about, like there's not a lot of creative vocals or everything. It's just him as a Jets fan talking about how sad he is that he's a Jets fan. It's just him screaming the Jets over and over. But it has this like Stanley from Streetcar Named Desire thing to it, where you're just like so much screaming and passion. And so the character comes out of it, but then you had to sort of make that work with the vocal limitations that he was giving you.
Yeah, and I think the character of this whole situation is why, whole situation being this show, is why it never really, scared me too much to take this on. Because really, it's like if you view that show as a band, the sum is greater than the individual parts. Everyone does their thing.
I agree.
And so it works together as a unit. And then you dissect that, and it's something that is an audio medium. These people are known for their voices. Now, granted, it's not singing on pitch, but they are known for the timbre of their voices. And I knew that if I wrote vocal lines, because I'm very familiar with that show, that would align with their personality / voice timbre, it would work. Like, I knew that Billy would be like, here we go. I knew that he would sing that because there's a bit that he does, which one will he choose? Which one will he choose?
Yes.
The color song.
The favorite color bit, yeah.
Yeah. And I've heard all of these people do their bits. So I was able to sort of write songs around those moments. And then it was just, how good am I at tuning, and or how many takes can I give them? And Stu Gatz, going back to that song, it really wasn't that hard once we figured out that's what we were going to do. It was more just, like as the track is going, coaching him. being, so the track is rolling in my Apple headphone. One ear is dangling out, and he's next to me with real headphones on, and Mike is, right next to me here, and we're being like, say like the Jets, and he'll be like the Jets, and he'd say it back to us, and it was great. Honestly, the biggest note of the whole thing, the Jets, when he hits that huge note, he actually hit that one note. The only thing I had to tune was the next one where he goes higher. So he was great. Everyone, their voices, it translates. And I have worked with some great singers where we have to go through multiple microphones, multiple rooms to get the vibe right, sitting down, standing up. And just because they can sing on pitch doesn't mean that it translates. And it was the pitch. Yeah, it really sucked having to tune a lot of that. And it was a lot of work writing songs that would be not only catchy, but they could sing. Like I had to lower a lot of the keys because I knew no one's going to be able to sing all in, say it louder from the back of every bar. It has to be like just in almost your talking voice. And so I had to, write these songs to fit these singers. And yeah, that sucked. But the voices, it was really easy in that sense where, Roy comes in and it's just like one take. Roy is another guy. I should speak more like, your listeners might not be as familiar with this show. Roy is obviously another voice on that show, a very deep baritone, sultry is as I like to tease him for. And we kind of felt like Roy just was going to be like, sure, I'll show up and do my thing, but he crushed it. He was so good. And everyone was in such great spirits, or at least, I was a guest, so they probably just, put on their game face for me and made me feel like they were in great spirits about it. But, it would have been a very different scenario if people were coming in just like, man, I gotta go soon. What's going on here? But everyone was coming in just, appropriately nervous about like, what in the world are you guys doing? And learned their vocal lines and sang them immediately. I'm still just shocked. Nothing could have gone wrong. There was room for zero hiccups.
Right.
And it was pretty much like the song I wrote that day was the song that was in the musical. It wasn't like I was writing multiple songs and we're like, pick the best.
That's there was not much in the way of a cutting room floor here. Like everything,
No.
we had to use every part of the buffalo.
Well, yes, and I mean, I think the song "Goat" on that was written in maybe like 2 hours and tracked, and I mean that's written and recorded. I had like a 2-hour window, and I just played it real quick. I recorded it, and I pressed spacebar and shared it with Mike, and he was like, "Wow, love it. Next," So yeah, it was. I'm still just shocked it worked. Yeah.
I can't wait for more people to hear it. So for those of you who want to check this out, we have you can check it out right now on the Lebitard podcast feed. It's under The Big Game as the track title, but you can also do but you can also check it out on all the streaming services starting on March 10th. You can listen to it as you would listen to anything else on Spotify or Apple Music. So there's lots of ways to check this out, and I'm not lying when I say that even though JT's not working with professional singers, this is an epic special production, and the songs will get stuck in your head, and you definitely want to check it out. For the folks who are listening who are Lebitard fans and have made their way to listening to this program this week, because those fans are very sticky and they travel well, and they'll find anything that anybody on Lebitard's involved with. Can you share any interesting facts about the Lebitard crew or about working at the Clevelander that they might not know about?
I mean, this might not be that exciting, but it's what I thought of immediately, and it's the thing I talk about the most. I was so blown away that they show up, they record their segment, and they just upload it. I would have assumed that there was for how good the show is, and maybe this is normal, but I would have assumed that there would have been some rehearsing, that there would be like a lengthy discussion before they start, like we have these topics, Billy, you should chime in right here and say that you hate this idea, and Stugatz, you're going to end it today like this. But what I witnessed was improv art.
Wow.
It is truly, they sit down, and when I mean they sit down, it's like people are walking in and sitting down while it's already starting. And Mike is just off to the races, or, well, then it was Mike, because he was still the main producer. And they pick a topic, they just start rolling, and the magic really happens when it kind of goes off the rails a little, just like every piece of art that withstands the test of time that we all love, almost, like a jazz musician soloing, or just someone hitting their stride and sitting down and writing their favorite song. It was so impressive to me that there wasn't any editing, that they weren't like, all right, let's go back and do that segment again, we can do that better. What you hear is people at the absolute top of their game, and that's for Le Batard fans, and for people that are wondering about that show, why you and I are so obsessed with it, is I just don't know of many other things truly on this planet that entertain me, take my mind off of this world, and yet still bring it back and ask me really hard questions and challenge me. And I feel like it's it's like a refuge, but it also challenges me as a human. And it's so rare that those two things can coexist. It's almost impossible in my opinion. And they have done that for a decade.
It's a really special program, and it's only gotten more special to me once it left ESPN and became completely independent, because this show, Break the Business, is a celebration of independent creators. Yeah. And I am just in love with what that group has done since they've left ESPN, started Meadowlark, and have the freedom, now that they're independent, to take all the big creative swings that they want, to do things that nobody else in sports media is doing, including making a musical. And that's something they would have never been able to do. I can only imagine the miles of red tape they would have had to have gone through to get that approved if they were still at ESPN.
Completely impossible. Absolutely impossible. It's like all great, art in whatever medium it is, it demands your attention and it keeps you guessing. And the fact that Dan Le Batard, would just be like, yeah, we're going to do a musical now. None of us sing. Which isn't entirely true. Like Mike can hold, a tune. Jess is
Mike's
great.
a great singer. Jess is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Roy actually crushed it. Billy was decent. Everyone was decent. That's the thing, besides Stu. But yeah, no one, that could have bombed so bad. And I'm just so impressed with that amount of courage. It's such a testament to what they're doing over there.
Let me ask you this now, and only because I'm curious, and I know our producer's curious because she sent me a note to want to ask this question. I know it's the last thing that you want to think about because this project killed you and it killed Mike Ryan. Is there any thought? Is there any discussion? Or is there at least the discussion of a discussion of possibly doing a project like this again with Le Batard for like another Super Bowl or for the NBA playoffs? Yeah. Is that happening at all?
I don't know. I really have no idea. I think that everyone was pretty taken back by how well this was received, because you and I both know, like, this fan base is frightening. Yeah, they will let you know when they don't like something. And I'm really happy that I didn't think about that, so much while we were making it. I did consider, a huge part of my job as a producer is to consider the audience. But it's weird, I have to like really think about it, and then I have to completely forget about it while I'm actually making the art. Because I feel like sometimes if you make art just for your audience, it rarely works. It needs to be real to you. And I was just really trying to serve that show. I was really trying to add as many Easter eggs as I could in the recordings. I was really trying to lean into the characters and write songs around those people. So we were all very taken back. I received calls from everyone from Dan to Skipper has reached out, who is, the CEO or
Yeah, CEO
I
of
guess he would
Meadowlark,
be.
former president at ESPN. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone has been so kind. I think that it would, probably work. But I know that we would have to raise the bar in some way, because that would make it exciting for me. Like, where do we go from here? I wouldn't want to just make it, the same thing every time. This was so special.
Yeah.
Like even I can acknowledge, like I go back, I have listened to it since, and I've just been like, man, that's the dream scenario, that you're in something and you're just kind of outside of yourself making it, and it's just working, and you set it free and it works. So I mean, I would be really interested, but I feel like we all would want to know, where do we go next, in a good way, and another
Yeah.
testament to the show, because I feel like they would be asking the same question. Where do we go next? We've done this. How do we keep pushing the envelope? How do we keep people guessing? And there's a multitude of things we could do. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, okay. So it's fair to say, like, you can't say one way or another whether this project's going to happen again. But if you get the phone call from them again, it's going to be hard for you to say no.
Yeah, I mean, I was very open with them when I did this job. I'm here because I want to work with you guys.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. Again, I never would have predicted a musical. But those are people that I want to be around, and that it's a really wild time to exist on this planet, and more I want to be around people that I respect.
The album is called The Big Game. You can check it out on streaming services starting March 10th. Or if you just can't wait and you're listening to this now and it's not out yet, you can go to the Dan Le Batard Show with Stu Gott's podcast feed, and you can find The Big Game there, all as one track, just all of them back to back. But I strongly recommend that you check it out. Even if you're not a sports fan, if you're just a music person, you're going to enjoy this. They bring in a lot of different genres. Like, you get one song that kind of sounds like a Ben Folds song. Another one, you get like a little bit of a Killers feel to it. Greg Cody's got a little big band thing going, which is fun. Like, it's really a fun, creative project. And like, my favorite track, which is the last track, The Big Game Reprise, is epic. Just, that is the only adjective that I think is appropriate there.
Thank you.
It's really, really fun to check out. And I encourage you to check it out, if for no other reason that it is a wonderful example of what can happen when independent creators have the freedom to do amazing things together. And of course, check out our friend JT Daly's work at jtdailymusic.com, because when you're not making podcasts or not making musicals for sports radio podcasts, you're writing songs with a lot of the biggest names in music. You're making a lot of your own albums. You're producing great tracks. And I want people to fall in love with the other amazing projects that you're doing on a daily basis. JT, it has been a treat, my friend. And please don't be a stranger. Before we let you go, one last question that we ask all the guests who come on this program. Do you have any last tips for the indie creators out there to help them move their careers forward?
Yeah. I am as blue collar as it gets. Every single thing I do is because I couldn't afford to hire a professional. So I taught myself. I've never waited for anyone. When I had an indie band and we were disappointed that we didn't get like the indie record deal that we wanted, I taught myself how to do everything possible, and we produced it, we engineered it, we mixed it ourselves, we packaged it ourselves. I made all the art for it. We made our own music videos, and then we got a major label record deal. And then we immediately wanted an indie deal after that.
Yeah.
You know, but my point is just like everything you see, I have self-taught. I have guitars here, and I started playing the guitar because the guitar player in our band quit, and we were just like, well, we don't really have enough money to hire a full-time other person. And I was like, I'm just going to start playing, you know. And I'm not saying that that everyone needs to, have, sometimes you might just be like, the talent isn't there, but just waiting is something that I feel like holds back a lot of artists, assuming that like tomorrow something's going to happen, like I'm going to meet the right person, or this deal is gonna come through, fill in the blank. I've just never waited. I've just always figured it out. And I maybe that sounds, I'm realizing maybe that doesn't sound as good as I hoped it would, but I really mean for that to be encouraging. Like I just think we are capable. In restraint, great art can be made. And I just encourage everyone to today's the day.
This musical is a great example of that, right? Restraint breeding creativity. You see it all the
Absolutely.
time in music. So I'm grateful for you for bringing that up. Again, you can check out our guest's work at jtdailymusic.com. JT, we ask that you stay by your phone because it's only a matter of time before we do the Break the Business musical. And we'd very much love your help with it. You should know that we have a lot of co-hosts on this program who either have musical theater training or are professional musicians. Me, I'm more of the Stu Gotts of your group, but I'm sure you can get a great performance out of me too. Yeah. And we'd love to have you work with us. But in all seriousness, please don't be a stranger. We'd love to have you
Absolutely.
on again whenever you want, because this has been a real blast.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ryan. Yeah, thank you.
That was JT Daily, everybody. You can find out more about our guest's work by visiting www.jtdailymusic.com. Ryan Kairalla here with Zach Sloan. Zach, what'd you think of that? One producer to another. Did he speak to you there? Was that cool for you?
Yeah. He said a lot of things that are very interesting. I totally resonate with like I'm just going to learn how to do it myself, because I'm entirely self-taught as a producer and as an engineer and mixing and mastering and all those things. But the easy one thing I wanted to point out that he said that sort of flew by. It's obvious to see like the dude has a work ethic. The guy is talented. He pulled the best out of people. And by the way, that's what good producers do, is they pull the best out of people. One thing he said that I wish more people would pay attention to is at one point he says, it's your job to think about the audience and then immediately forget it.
Wow.
Because if you just cater to the audience, they're probably not going to like it. And I've worked with a lot of artists who they forget that. They're like, well, I want to make sure that my fans like this. And it's like, no, your fans liked your first record before they knew who you were. And that's how you build a fan base. And so if you start catering to that, you're no longer what they liked. And that's a dude who gets it. I was really impressed. The thought process he described is exactly what I would have gone through. I would have been like, oh my God, I can't do this. I'm going to go ahead and do it. That was really cool. That was super cool. I was very interested in listening to every single word that guy had to say. And by the way, he's in the band The Paper Out. They're amazing. You should all listen to that band.
Paper Out's great. I was interested in what he said in the beginning about what draws him into a project, which excites him about the project is not the content, is not even the outcome. It's who do I get to work with? And who are my collaborators? And that seems to be like his main barometer as to whether or not he's going to take on a project. And that's what drove him to take this one on, even though he didn't know how he was going to make a musical in 30 days, how he was going to be able to work with people who are not professional singers and get great performances out of them. It was enough for him that he wanted to work with them, and he trusted in himself that he was going to figure out the rest later. How can you not love that? So here's what we're going to do here to close things out, Zach. I'll let everybody know that next week our guest is Ava Cave, terrific singer-songwriter. You guys are really going to love that interview. And what I want to do to close the show out here, Zach, is JT was doing such a nice job of kind of getting people excited about this project. And when we signed off with him, he did tell us before the interview that we are welcome to play a song of our choice from the big game. So what I want to do is after we sign off here, Lauren, can you cue up All In? I think All In's probably my favorite one from this musical. And again, every track's a banger, so it's like trying to choose between your children. But I think that's the one I want to pick. We'll play All In for the closing piece of this show, and then we'll go right to the outro. So any parting thoughts about anything that JT said there? We got about 60 seconds or so.
That guy is amazing. I'm going to be listening to anything he puts out in the future because that's talent. I can't wait to hear more from this dude.
Yeah, likewise. And it's just great to see great creators like JT work with amazing creators like everybody at the Dan Le Batard Show, and just getting to see what happens when independent creators have the freedom to do incredible things. How can you not be inspired by that? And hopefully you're also inspired in our first segment to send us a video of you doing the open verse challenge with Ella Blue Travolta. I think you're going to love that one as well. All right. My thanks to you, Zach. Thanks to JT Daly. Thanks to producer Lauren for always doing a fantastic job for us. We are closing out with All In from the Big Game Dan Le Batard musical. Thanks for checking out Break the Business. We will see you next week.
Here we go. This one's for all the glory. Give it your best, it's all you've got. Don't look back. Oh, it's all part of the story. You talk the talk, now walk the walk. Yeah.
When the game's on the line, will you have the guts to make the call? When it's crunch time, will you make us scream, God bless football?
Say it louder. From the back of every bar or the subway, on the streets or in your car, wherever you have found yourself, scream out your battle cry. I'm all in. I'm all in. Fourth and goal, or pin back at your 30. Time to prove you're a hot shot. Let's attack. Oh, your name is Brandon Staley. Unleash some hell and go for gold. Yeah.
Up you goes again. Does your QB have the guts? Will you just punt, or throw it up to Cooper Cup?
Say it louder. From the back of every bar or the subway, on the streets or in your car, wherever you have found yourself, scream out your battle cry. I'm all in.
One play at a time, boys, one play at a time. Winning isn't everything, it's the only thing.
All in. All in? I'm a fan of the Jets. I'm a fan of the Jets.